everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the group discussion. So, in the group discussion today, the topic is office politics necessary for success in corporate? The topic is office politics necessary for success in corporate? You would all have 1 minute to think about it, and then we will have 15 minutes of discussion, or rather, we can, have 12 minutes of discussion and then 3 minutes of conclusion. So 12 minutes of discussion and then 3 minutes of conclusion, so that we can specifically have a conclusion from the group. Your time has already begun. If in case you have any queries or any doubts, you can clarify it right away.
Hello friends, what do you think that can we agree upon a definition for success here? Because I think it would, if we are looking at success in corporate, then it should be to get promotions and...
it's mostly about individual success or the success of corporate in general. So we should define the line with there.
Individual success and success of corporate, but what exactly would be individual success? I think that is important.
In terms of...
I think success would be a wrong parameter to start with.
Sure.
When we begin our careers, we are more focused on learning.
Yes.
And I think the pros and cons this thing can have on our learning graph, I think that's what we should talk about here.
Yeah, but learning can also be a part of success now.
It will eventually lead to success, you're right.
No, if people are learning from the atmosphere out there, it is also a part of success that people are doing.
So I think that the topic that is that office politics, I think it can sometimes, there are two sides to the coin, of course. Sometimes it can lead to a pullback or a backlash. For example, if I come up with an idea and I get unnecessary backlash for it because of the favoritism, which is a part of office politics, I guess. So that is not fair to me. When I've just started in my career, it can pull my confidence back. I think that's what we should be worried about when it comes to office politics.
But office politics is
I
not...
would give a word for that. That is demotivating initially.
Right.
For whatever statements that you have pictured here.
I think it could get to an extreme point in many circumstances. Like there have been cases where people feel a lot demotivated, and if they are part of the topic, so that could be very dangerous for an organization. So I think that could affect a person's mental health also.
But office politics does not necessarily have to be a negative thing, because what exactly is the behavior that we are labeling as office politics? It's getting along with your boss and your colleagues. The people who are getting along with their boss and their colleagues, they are naturally better fit for the team, so naturally they should be promoted. And that is...
But this is not, politics. We are talking about the politics is something that is pulling people down. So if we are pulling people down, that is a negative connotation to a people and a company too. If we talk about success, we are talking about corporate success as well, and the office politics will hamper the corporate success also.
But I disagree with you there, because we don't necessarily have to pull people down. We just have to promote ourselves and our career, which everybody has their own.
To add a perspective here, I would like to add one point where it comes from my own experiences, wherein I got to talk to my juniors and subordinates, and they told me that there have been multiple instances where their other peers were not, at par with their duties that were being assigned and delivered to them, rather than let me complete. So let's say if the office hours were like from 9 to 5, they went home in mid. If it's a role specific to field job, so there comes a corporate politics in so wherein we can get to know, and this is one way wherein we can keep a check and balance on people that we are delegating our task. And
And adding to Abhishek, I also believe that sometimes that can also lead to the sometimes we favor some people, and what if they are not as efficient, right?
Right.
And that can ultimately lead to the decrease in efficiency of the corporation. So even though politics is okay for favoring, but that can ultimately also lead to hampering of the efficiency of the corporation.
I think even if you have something in favor of someone or maybe against someone, it hampers everyone's chance to learn and succeed.
Yeah, sometimes very good resources even neglected, and they finally quit from this.
Additionally, it delays tasks also.
I agree to your points, but what he said, I have a point to add to that. He said that who get along better with other people, they get favorism. Though I understand that's not a fair play, but it motivates people to work on their communication skills. It can help you grow in that arena. for your personality. So it somewhere can act as a motivator if taken it in the right way.
Yeah, and moreover, like employers nowadays emphasize on this that you should be able to gel with everyone. You should
Networking.
be a very
And we are
open
going off
person.
of the assumption that office politics will undoubtedly lead to favoritism.
Yeah,
I think that assumption is also not valid 100% of the time.
that is one part.
Favoritism is definitely bad, but office politics does not necessarily need to favoritism.
That is very true. If we take it other way, so sometimes this can also happen that very rightly mentioned by her as well. Ki, if we are favoring someone, then that can also act as a motivation for some other person to eventually evolve
Try to
themselves to
genuine.
be able to come up to that level. So that can also increase competitiveness within the environment if it is done in a constructive manner.
Right.
So can it be a way that office politics help in team building also? Because that could be one of the ways, like people communicate together and they get along together. So that could help in team building and getting to know one another.
See,
I
according to me, it's a two-way sword.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So
But I don't think it will help in team building. It will definitely increase the competitiveness. It will increase your communication skills, but it will not help you, build a team or a trust within itself because everybody is speaking for themselves. Nobody is speaking for the team. So I don't think it will build a team or, a sense of trust within the team.
But
so,
they are competitor and collaborator as well. They
Right.
are
Yeah, but-
collaborating in a project as well as competing
yeah,
within
but they are
themselves.
thinking about themselves only. They are not thinking
Or
about
not
the team.
necessarily
But
though.
would you say it is
But the-
necessary for success in corporation? Because that's the topic that
it's
we are
not
dealing
the
with.
only necessity, I would say. Though there has
Yeah.
to be other things as well included with
So
the
I think
politics.
as long as the office politics is not leading to unnecessary stress and affecting your
Yes.
mental health, it's not to that extreme. I think it can be viewed as constructively.
However, if your mental health is being affected by office politics, so to say,
Right.
is that necessarily on you or on the work
Definitely,
environment?
definitely on both. Somewhere on both, I guess.
But in
Right.
most
I think
cases,
it's
we have
about
heard
the
about
But you
scenarios
can't
like where it gets
you can't
super negative.
neglect these 2 points now. Some people are mentally more stronger. They take office politics positively, constructively, but there are people out there.
Depends on the person, definitely. What I'm saying is, it gives you a chance to turn into somebody who can take criticism or office politics constructively.
But this is where diversity comes. You have
Right.
to act in accordance with the
Right.
people, with the team.
Yes.
So you have to be inclusive with the thought that there are certain people who have a certain mind constraint and certain people who have a certain mind constraint.
Right.
So you have to act accordingly.
So while saying it's necessary, I would say it's necessary when the parameters are set clear and it's communicated clearly within the team.
Yes.
That is what I agree with, because in any competitive environment, office politics is unavoidable. So
Yes.
as long as it's as long as your colleagues are mentally healthy, I think it's
It's affordable.
it's a boon to have.
Absolutely
Right,
correct.
communication should be there. At least the team must know that, like, from the leader, the communication must be there. At least the team must know that this is the kind of environment the office is
Correct.
providing, and then the person will have to adapt to the social,
Right.
social adaptability of the person.
I
Yeah, and
think
I've also seen, like, in my personal experience, that when someone who joins new or maybe is like relatively newer into the system, he or she, if she's trying to build their credibility, that is often mistaken as like office politics, or maybe they're trying to butter up the seniors and all. So those kinds of things often cause those.
Yeah, agreeing on this, if a person pushes himself and do extra work, it is taken as he is doing the buttering up of his seniors and not doing
Not
his
necessarily though. Buttering is different concept, or showing more and doing more are two different.
The other members of team thinks like that.
Not
But
necessarily.
then what
I
kind
think
of
that's a
conversation
subjective.
would you categorize as office politics, basically? Like, that's what I'm asking.
So I think what he's trying to say, the point he's trying to put across is that if somebody is hardworking, it can seem like that person is trying to impress the seniors.
No, this is not my point. I'm saying that if person is going beyond their KRAs, they are
Right.
doing the project of their seniors and they are doing to make a healthy relationship.
Right.
But it is taken as the people from other teams taken as
Then
it is
it's
buttering
their
up the
fault.
senior.
Then
Yeah,
it's their,
might or
their
might
fault,
not
I would
be.
say.
Yeah.
If you are going beyond
yeah,
your
it's
KRAs,
good-
help.
it's good
Yeah,
to-
that's
Maybe
what I
somebody
mean.
wants
That
to
is
learn
often
through that.
confused
Yes.
with this.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody
it's
wants to
it's the
learn.
fault of the team that if they are taking it negatively and considering it to be as a buttering point. It's necessarily
I
not the
think-
buttering.
But
I think we have diverted
but
from
we are
the-
discussing it is a very idealistic world and we
No,
live in a realistic world. The
realistically-
things happen these times.
Yeah,
Things
Realistically,
happen.
very well said. Realistically, I think we have diverted from the point of office politics. So, according to me, office politics can be a pro and can be a con, depending on how well equipped you are to take it on
Yes,
you.
Srishti, but the question is if it's necessary for success.
in corporation.
Yeah, exactly. So, if I think that pros and cons, if we weigh them correctly, I think it's not absolutely necessity to have it, but if we have it, it can contribute in a good way. And if we know our limits, if we know, yeah.
Also, I would like to add a point here. In conclusion, I think manager or the leader plays a big role here, where he communicates well what is the politics and what the requirement of the team is. So, what is required out of an individual. So, everyone should act accordingly, and then I don't think there will be any politics required. So, a thing that can be communicated well from the manager, that this can't be entertained here. So, that is where they draw a line, and then I think it will be a good environment to
So
work
in
in.
an environment like that, office politics would not be necessary for success. However, that is not the environment in which most of us work in, right? So in most of our environments, there is healthy competition. There is some unhealthy aspects to it as well. And in those situations, one has to play by the rules of
Correct.
the game.
In those unhealthy situations, the manager has to step in and draw that line and communicate well that this cannot be entertained in the team. And if certain individual does that, they will not be entertained further, or they'll not be
And I think there
promoted.
should be an environment also as such where people who have been affected by it negatively, they feel comfortable enough to go and share with the
Correct.
manager and team
Right.
leader
Yeah.
and discuss that, yeah, this has affected me
Though-
in such a way.
Yes,
So
there should be a transparency
Yeah.
within the
Though,
team that every individual can go to their manager.
I agree with
Now,
you.
what we'll do is we'll have a 30-second summary by everybody. So let's start with Vaishali. Vaishali, you can start. Everybody will take 30-second summary of the discussion. Please go ahead.
Okay, so in conclusion, I think according to me, office politics is not necessary for the success, because if we talk about the communication or the competitiveness within the team, it can increase or it can enhance other way also. So I don't think office politics is required.
Okay, so the office politics is absolutely not a necessary, but it's healthy to be there. It will make people self-motivated and but we should keep in check the amount of politics happening here and there. The favoritism should be not there. People should be given an equal opportunity to work without giving any criticism to anyone based on how they favor the manager or how they favor the team.
So as per me, as I already said, it's a two-way sword. So if it is done in a healthy way, wherein it's the responsibility of the manager or the leader to communicate and set the parameters clear, and there has to be some transparency as well. It's then necessary.
In my opinion, it has both pros and cons. So I would say that yes, a constructive office politics will ultimately lead to motivated team and growth. But on the same time, if it is unhealthy, then of course the team will be demotivated, there'll be favoritism, and the work efficiency will decrease.
I would say that no, it is not an absolute necessary for success, because yes, it can be helpful. It can help in building team building and getting to know one another. But I would say the negatives of it are definitely much more serious, because it can get very negative and unhealthy for certain people. So I would say it's not a necessary.
In my view, though office politics might not be a necessity, but I think it's an unavoidable thing. So wherever human interaction is involved, we are tend to have biases, and that's what gives birth to politics. So I think it's unavoidable, but the way we deal with it, the way we control it, the way we manage the extent of it, can help us use it in a good or a bad way.
Absolutely. Office politics is unavoidable, and in any competitive environment, that is the environment that most of us work in. It becomes a necessity to excel in it. And but as Kuldeep very rightly said, that it's a double-edged sword. There are cons to it, as Muskan and Kuldeep have pointed out, that it promotes favorism and undeserving candidates getting further. So that has to be checked. But other than that, it's very healthy for competition, and it should be promoted.
I also believe that participating in office politics is important for success in career, but to the extent that it does not harm your chances as well as someone else's. There should be a fine line, a balance, and it should not come out negatively to anyone in the team or as an individual.
Perfect. So we have concluded it. Thank you everybody for your participation. How did we do it? What's your view?
I think we did pretty well.
Okay.
I think it's a positive that we were able to come at a conclusion.
Yes.
Okay. So let me quickly talk about some of the absolute don'ts in a GD. Okay. One absolute don't in a GD, or something which is not advisable, is not understanding the problem clearly, right? So a lot of time actually went into understanding pros, cons, etc. But the problem was, do you require it for success or not?
Right.
Okay, so that is one very important aspect, which if we had actually stayed on it, we could have added better pointers, we would have streamlined the discussion better. That is number one. Number two, in an actual GD scenario, one should never look at the coordinators. So a couple of us were found looking at the coordinators, which is something that we need to avoid. Okay, so that's second. Third, we should not take names of each other. Okay, we can address by saying as my co-panelist mentioned. Okay, because if you are taking names of your co-panelist, you are giving them brownie points. Okay, saying that this person has added up a valuable point. Let's say Kuldeep has done it or Jaskaran has done it. We'll give additional points to these people. Okay. Another important element is if you disagree with somebody, do not outrightly reject it. Not necessary. What rubbish. Don't do that. That's a don't in a GD. If you believe that something is out of the way or something is not falling in line with your thought process, it's still important to respect that thought process. And if you have to differ, you have to differ very politely, saying that I beg to differ with your thought process, and I believe that this is my submission. Correct? So that is again something which is important. If I talk about avoidable or not avoidable is not the topic. The topic is do I want it or not. Question is very simple. Okay, even if it is avoidable, if you say that it is necessary, then it is necessary. It is required. It is important. Correct. So one important element is in the if I come to the conclusion, some people mentioned necessary, which is absolutely okay. Some people who mentioned not necessary, that is also fine. Okay. A lot of people were sort of cutting each other, crossing and talking at the same time. That is something which we have to avoid. Okay. If we are crossing each other, cutting each other, that is something which is then not leading up to anything. Okay. I would also urge people to bring in participation once you are entering into the discussion. At least take 30 seconds, 40 seconds, build up on your pointer. People were actually entering for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, wherein the pointers were not very clearly highlighted. So if you actually take it from the coordinator standpoint, we could hear Shrishti talk, or we could hear Jaskaran talk, but very little of, let's say, Mehul, or Kuldeep maybe towards the end, but from the beginning there was not much of a participation. Again, Akshit also. Correct? So when you enter, take 30 seconds, but before that build up your thought, so that once I enter, I create a mark before I exit. So once you exit, you have to know that it's your opportunity, and you may not get more than 3 entries. So in a discussion like this, 3 to 4 entries is a good number of entry, but once you enter, do not exit in like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Take 30 seconds, build up a pointer, and then pass it on to the people. Okay? So be careful of that. Otherwise, your contribution gets lost. Okay? People do not register it, coordinators do not register it, even if it's your pointer. For example, let's say, I've talked about mental health, right? So then I would want to build up on it so that I get complete score for that. मैं मेंटल हेल्थ इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया, कोई और उसके ऊपर बिल्डअप दे दिया, तो पॉइंट उसको मिल जाएगा, मुझे नहीं मिलेगा वो पॉइंट. करेक्ट? सो दैट इज समथिंग व्हिच यू हैव टू बी केयरफुल ऑन. We tend to use Hindi words in the middle. Correct? This is the right thing. Na is a Hindi word, not to be used in a discussion which is happening at a point. Okay, somebody also mentioned that it is not necessary, although it is healthy. So office politics is not necessary for success, although it is healthy. If it is healthy, why is it not necessary? So this is effectively contradiction. So be very careful of such statements. Either you say that it's not healthy, not required, therefore not necessary. One side you cannot say that it's healthy, it's important, it's a good thing, but I do not want to have it. Correct? That is again something which we should not do. So these are some of the pointers. I would request if my fellow panelists have any pointers to add, please feel free.
एक्टिव लिसनिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आप लोग सब लोग का क्या होता है, मुझे अपना पॉइंट बोलना है, सब अपना पॉइंट बना रहे हैं कि मैं बस ये खत्म हो और मैं बोलूँ, बट ट्राई टू बिल्ड अपॉन साथ वाले के पॉइंट पे. दैट शोज कि आप उसका सुन भी रहे हो. जीडी क्या है कि एक ग्रुप की डिस्कशन है, ये थोड़ी है कि मेरा पॉइंट जीतना चाहिए. सो वो चीज़ नहीं. अगर मैंने उसके पॉइंट सुन के उस पर बिल्डअप किया, दैट मीन्स मैं उसकी भी सुन रहा था, मैंने अपना पॉइंट भी ऐड किया. हमेशा कोई भी पॉइंट लेके आओ, जैसे सर ने बोला 30 सेकंड्स की एंट्री, वो कब बनेगी 30 सेकंड्स की एंट्री? जब उस पर कोई एग्जांपल डालोगे, कोई नंबर डालोगे, तो दैट ब्रिंग्स मोर वेटेज टू योर पॉइंट. सिर्फ बोल कुछ वही, अगर मेंटल हेल्थ की बात हुई, मेंटल हेल्थ के साथ में कुछ एग्जांपल दो, क्या कॉल ऑफिसेज में चल रहा है, क्या होता है, क्या इसके रिपरकशंस होते हैं, कुछ वैसा डालोगे, प्रोस कॉन्स, दैट इज बिल्डिंग अपॉन योर पॉइंट.
Yeah, in fact, to add to that, many of you have work experiences, so you can bring in examples. Not that you can start blaming your employer, but you can bring in examples of, let's say, some good practices. that you believe it's there in your office. That effectively makes you, environmentally aware. So let's say if I'm working somewhere, I am also taking note of, what things are happening there, some good practices. So take such examples. If you are having that work experience, you should completely leverage that in a discussion like this. Anything else if we have?
So I think all in all of you were deviating from the core point, from the core subject.
Yes.
And I hope you guys know कि कई बार पूरा scrap off हो जाता है पूरा panel basis this. Right? I definitely in MBA process, MBA admission process, apart from that companies जब अपने लेके आते हैं GDs, उसमें भी पूरा scrap कर देते हैं if everybody is deviating. So in case you have noticed this कि deviate हो रहा है, then please bring the whole panel to the point, to the core subject. Right? For example, in this one, the topic was office politics necessary for success in corporate or not. You were discussing the advantages, the disadvantages, right? होता है नहीं होता, is it there or not? Right? Please stick to the topic. It is very very important for you and for the complete panel.
कोई एक बंदा भी लीड लेके वापस ले आता ना कि गाइस आई वुड वांट टू
जी,
रिमाइंड कि हमारा
yes.
ये टॉपिक था, उसके ब्राउनी पॉइंट्स अलग लेवल के हैं.
So it is very very important. Apart from that, I noticed a few things. Let me just talk about those. For example, you just started off, right? Just Karan. I think you didn't think about the topic very properly, or maybe about the structure very properly. You just started off.
I just wanted to get everyone.
Yes,
talking.
I know, and I think more important than that, I noticed कि maybe इसलिए कि चलो brownie point आएगा.
Yeah, I just wanted to get everyone talking. So
नहीं
you were
नहीं,
not
we
done
just
with
talking.
Actually, we were in between
time.
1 minute के time frame में थे हम लोग. We were writing.
Yes.
So just remember, the person who is starting has a lot of ownership and responsibility to set the tone of the discussion and the structure. Okay, so people who are beginning a GD must think of giving the right start. Okay, why did Sachin Tendulkar and Virendra Sehwag, get into the crease to begin with, to give India a good start. So opener, or basically person who starts, has a lot of responsibility. Okay, either the group is upon you. Okay, you can also lead them into a very different zone, completely different zone. So if you are starting a group discussion, always remember that you have to take a structure in mind. You have to give a broader structure, saying that okay, this is what I believe is the topic, and following, I would want to add a couple of pointers, and this is the way we should add into the pointers and build up the entire discussion, leading to the conclusion. Correct? So जो पहले स्टार्ट कर रहा है उसको एक फ्रेमवर्क देना चाहिए, उसको सजेस्ट करना चाहिए कि इस फ्रेमवर्क के साथ में हम स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं, and then people will then start adding in, joining in, and adding value, and that will give you a lot of brownie points also. So starting early is an advantage, but it is also a responsibility. It's also a double-edged sword. If you start early, you get additional points if you do well, and you also get your points deducted if you do not do well. So that is something which has to be taken care of. Okay.
One more thing I noticed, some of you were not letting the other panelists basically complete their sentences, complete their POVs. It is very very important that you let them speak. For example, you, right?
Yeah.
Abhishek was speaking,
Right.
and meanwhile you just started off with your point. Shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Let them complete, let him or her complete their point, and then maybe you can start off. Now, one more thing I noticed. I think you changed your stance instantly, right? You were either in favor of, I don't remember correctly, but I remember you
I had a
changed your
doubt
stance.
regarding this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I
Whether-
was wanting to know, like, in such discussions, is it necessary to stick to, like, if I said or if I feel that yes, it is required, so I should continue my flow entirely to it, or is it like, if I feel that yes, there are some points which are in negative terms as well, should I be supporting that also, or is it like, should I continue with, I've taken for it, so I'm completely for it?
See, if you think that you are being logical, if you are being relevant, and you have some points to talk about, right, then definitely go ahead and talk about the pros of it. Okay. Right. And then maybe or maybe you can start off with being very rational. You can talk about the pros as well as the cons to start with, to begin with. Right, but at the same time, if you feel you have some relevant points and the discussion is moving in another direction, you don't think, I'll have to talk about the cons only. No, you can definitely talk about your points.
Absolutely.
Sir, your take on it?
Yes, I think that's a fair point. To begin with, you can be rational. You can, talk about both sides. But then once you've taken a side, don't keep switching. Saying that, okay, I've said now, for some time I'll remain in for, then sometime I'll, be in against. Also, it's important to be decisive. The question was, is office politics necessary for success in corporate? The answer is yes or no. The answer is no. It is good if it is, kept within boundaries, all of that. You also know if it is there, it will sometimes go out of bounds also. So you take that into consideration and then tell us whether you believe it's good at an overall level or bad at an overall level. Obviously, it will have pros and cons both. You can't say that it has pros and it has cons, so I will not be able to decide.
So like I ended and I said that I don't think it's necessary, but it's unavoidable. So like that's what I really
But that
believe.
is not the topic.
Okay.
It is avoidable or not avoidable, that's not the matter of discussion. The discussion is, do you want it or not?
Okay.
Okay. Do you want it? Do you think it can positively manipulate people to work harder? Do you think it can spark team spirit? Do you think it can motivate some people that you really want motivated in your team?
So I should have
Then it is
rather
necessary.
gone in a way that it's healthy politics is good.
So if that's your belief, then you obviously you go with it.
Okay.
Don't say that okay it can be avoided or can't be avoided,
Got it.
because that's not the context. Okay.
सर तो जैसे कंटेंट तो बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं था, जो भी हमारा डिस्कशन था वो 2-4 पॉइंट्स के अराउंड ही घूमा है, क्योंकि कंटेंट हम लोगों ने बहुत ज़्यादा डाला नहीं इसमें, क्योंकि पॉइंट से ही हम लोग डिविएट हो गए थे. तो इफ़ अगर ऐसा हैपन होता है तो फिर क्या करें?
मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि बहुत सारे लोगों ने अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस से नहीं ऐड किया वैल्यू.
यस,
I tried.
वो एज अ फ्रेशर ही खेलते रहे. मैंने स्टार्ट में ही पूछा था कि कितने लोगों के पास वर्क एक्सपीरियंस है.
राइट.
करेक्ट. तो यू शुड ऐड इन अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस जो तुमने देखा है उसको ऐड इन करो. देख एक बहुत अच्छा स्ट्रैटेजी बताता हूँ. जहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं नेसेसरी नहीं है, वहाँ तुम बोल सकते हो कि नेसेसरी है. जहाँ बहुत सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं कि नेसेसरी है, वहाँ बोल दो कि नेसेसरी नहीं है. Because हाँ, so be the devil's advocate.
Then back it.
That is something which will truly help your case.
But we should have that backing point for
Yes,
that.
you should.
Yes.
Should have. That reasoning should have, because obviously everybody will try to counter it.
Right.
But
Yes.
if you are able to take that counter, then you are selected, because you've gone against the tide. And in a question like this, there is no right or wrong. Think about it.
Yes.
Is office politics good? There can be some good things, there can be some bad things, and different people will have different things about it.
From your
Okay,
own
so sir, in such a topic, like a balanced stand is not appreciated.
Because
Yes
the
or
question
no?
is not about a balance.
Got
The
it.
question is, you have to give me a yes or a no.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So you can take a yes if you believe that पहले 3 लोग yes बोल रहे हैं, तुम चौथा है तुम no बोलो. Think
You
about
believe in it, ऐसा नहीं कि बोलने के लिए
मतलब
बोल दिया.
Logic है.
लॉजिक बना के और बोल दो. मतलब मैं तो यही बोलूंगा कि अपना लॉजिक बनाओ. भाई 4 लोग yes बोल दिया है, अब मैं भी अगर yes बोलूंगा तो I will not stand out.
Yeah.
तो मैं no बोलूंगा. I will think about the pointers and then I will, even if I believe internally मुझे लगता है कि नहीं होना चाहिए, लेकिन मुझे select होना है. मैं yes बोल के सबको counter कर दूंगा. फिर सब लोग मेरे साथ लगेंगे, मुझे points मिलेगा. सब लोग मेरे साथ बात कर रहे हैं, मुझे points मिलेगा. मुझे footage मिलेगा additional. Correct. So that is a good strategy. Only thing we should remember is be reasonable, be logical, be fair and ethical. Do not cross the boundaries of ethics just to prove a point. That should not be the case. But as long as you are within the boundaries of fairness, it's fair. You can do that. You can stand against the tide also.
So when you're saying that I have the examples from your work ex, so we should make sure that the examples are not in extremes, like.
Yes, that is correct. So you should not start blaming your own organization.
Yes.
Correct.
So if we mention to some other organizations like the EY case that happened,
You can pick up news from the
in
news
that
articles.
case we can be extreme, like.
No, you can be factual. Don't be
Right.
extreme. Okay, extreme. You get extreme when you get judgmental.
Okay.
Facts are facts. There is nothing
Got it.
wrong about facts. So don't be judgmental. Don't get into extreme judgments. Be factual. Be reasonable. Be logical, and try to put your points across.
Sir, in a statement like this, I wasn't even sure about the definitions of these words, like what do we mean by success and what do we mean by office politics. और उसमें the group was discussing about कि it's about pulling people down. So फिर should I really debate the?
So I think the blame also goes to you, Jaskar. You could have started by explaining that, so that people would have added. For example, to begin with, I would say that by office politics, I believe these 3 elements. And by success, I believe, let's say, promotion, in a corporate cycle, or rising up the ladder in a corporate cycle, or growing financially in a corporate circle. Right? This is how I define success. If you all have any other pointers in terms of defining office politics or success, please feel free to add. Simple. हो गया different definition.
आपको नहीं पता तो आप नहीं स्टार्ट करोगे, आप वेट करोगे लोगों का, फिर वहां से
नहीं, I wanted to start के हम पहले डिफाइनिंग, तो इसलिए मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि हम सक्सेस कैसे डिफाइन कर रहे हैं, वो मैंने सबसे पूछा था.
तो सबसे नहीं पूछना है. बेसिकली आपका एजेंडा सवाल पूछना नहीं है. तो आपका एजेंडा है वैल्यू ऐड करना.
Right.
You are a participant. Correct? So you start by adding pointer, saying that this is my view. What is your view? You add in a point and then ask people to add a view. Don't ask a question कि हाँ चलो बताओ,
Right.
बच्चा लोग बताओ क्या होता है, success क्या होता है, वैसा नहीं करना है.
Right.
Correct?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like the topic right now we were having was office politics, and now when I'm in a group and I feel that most of the people are bringing in the way you said examples of their personal experiences, and now being a fresher, if I don't have that kind of experience, how should I like add value from my
Okay.
self?
So see, I'm sure if you are a fresher, but still you would be reading news, no?
Right.
There are news articles saying that, for example, let's say this person committed suicide because of office politics. So there are news articles. So if you are a fresher, read more. How do you be knowledgeable? Either by experiencing or traveling or reading. These are some ways of being knowledgeable. Correct? आप अगर experience नहीं ले रहे हो और आप पढ़ भी नहीं रहे हो, तो फिर तो आप fresher ही रह जाओगे संसार में. Correct? So start reading more. That is one way of being knowledgeable. Okay? Or if you have experience, bring in your experiences.
Also, sir, this success can be both personal also and corporate success also, like for the company also.
Yes.
So we can
So if a person is getting promoted, it is being promoted on the basis of his performance.
Personal.
That is for the corporate only.
Both goes hand in hand.
So it goes. So basically, you can say that success, for the organization also
Yeah.
and individual.
Yeah,
also.
correct.
Can do that. There is nothing wrong in it. Say that office politics is good for the organization but not good for the people. You can also have that stance. Saying that since it's good for the but in the longer run it will not be good, because if people are getting hampered today in the shorter run, then in the longer run they are not in the right mental space and health to effectively contribute in the larger domain, and therefore I believe that it is not necessary.
Yes.
Correct? It may have this short term advantages, but in long term I do not believe. So you can build upon it. Have very clear and very clear points, and go in with a lot of conviction. Okay, do not just add in a point, 5 seconds come back, 10 seconds come back. Okay, don't make a rat's entry, make a lion's entry. There you are there.
And sir, also as a group, we have to conclude and get into a common conclusion, or we can have a different point of view.
So eventually the group should have a conclusion,
Right.
but even if it does not have, it's okay. If some good pointers have been discussed, if all the facets have been covered, then it's a good discussion. Obviously you can't align everybody to come to a common goal. That's something which is very difficult, but even if there is a majority, it's fine.
ये तो वो सा टॉपिक था जिसमें कंक्लूजन आ सकता था.
Yes.
पैनलिस्ट उठता है, बोर्ड पे एक सर्कल बना के आता है, करो डिस्कस. अब कर लो, क्या डिस्कस करोगे?
Correct. For example, जैसे मान लो, let's say the topic is men versus women, who's more efficient? कैसा आएगा conclusion, बताओ? Possible है? Unless men are also saying that women are more efficient, because women are not going to say
There's no
that.
other way around.
Correct. I'm just kidding. Women
ये
also
वाला
say that.
part
Women also very accommodative. But the point is,
All women are.
तो वही बोल रहे.
I absolutely agree.
This is actual politics.
I absolutely agree. So that's my point, right? So in that case, you might not have a conclusion.
Yes.
Correct. So it is okay, but if good pointers have been added. Right. So yeah, that's about it.